The notion that the mainstream media uses climate change to oppress Christians is a complex and multifaceted topic. At its core, this idea suggests the media's coverage of climate change is somehow biased against Christian values or beliefs, and that this bias is used to marginalize or oppress Christians. However, a closer examination of this claim reveals that it is largely based on misconceptions and a lack of understanding of the role of the media in reporting on climate change. First and foremost, it is essential to recognize that the mainstream media's coverage of climate change is primarily focused on reporting scientific facts and data. The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that climate change is real, it is caused by human activities, and it poses a significant threat to the environment, human health, and the economy. The media's role is to inform the public about these facts and to provide context and analysis of the implications of climate change. However, some Christians may feel that the media's coverage of climate change is biased against their values or beliefs because it often highlights the need for individuals and societies to take action to reduce their carbon footprint and mitigate the effects of climate change. This can be perceived as contradicting Christian teachings that emphasize the importance of human dominion over the earth and the pursuit of economic growth and prosperity. Nevertheless, this perceived conflict is based on a flawed understanding of Christian teachings and the biblical mandate to care for the earth. In fact, many Christian denominations and organizations have issued statements and taken actions to address climate change, recognizing it as a moral and spiritual issue that requires a response from people of faith. For example, the Pope's encyclical on climate change, Laudato Si', emphasizes the need for Christians to care for the earth and to take action to mitigate the effects of climate change. Similarly, the Evangelical Environmental Network has launched initiatives to promote creation care and to reduce carbon emissions. Despite these efforts, some Christians may still feel that the media's coverage of climate change is biased against their views. This perception can be fueled by the fact that some media outlets may give more attention to secular or liberal perspectives on climate change, while ignoring or downplaying Christian views on the issue. However, this does not necessarily mean that the media is intentionally trying to oppress Christians. Rather, it may reflect a lack of understanding or awareness of the diversity of Christian perspectives on climate change. Furthermore, it is essential to recognize that the media's coverage of climate change is not solely focused on promoting a particular ideology or agenda. Rather, it is driven by a desire to inform the public about a critical issue that affects us all, regardless of our religious beliefs or affiliations. The media's role is to provide accurate and unbiased information, to facilitate public discourse and debate, and to hold those in power accountable for their actions on climate change. In conclusion, the idea that the mainstream media uses climate change to oppress Christians is a misconception that is based on a lack of understanding of the role of the media in reporting on climate change. While some Christians may feel that the media's coverage of climate change is biased against their views, this perception is not necessarily supported by evidence. The media's coverage of climate change is primarily focused on reporting scientific facts and data, and it is driven by a desire to inform the public about a critical issue that affects us all. As Christians, we should engage with the media and with the broader public on the issue of climate change, promoting a biblical mandate to care for the earth and to love our neighbors as ourselves. By doing so, we can help to create a more informed and nuanced public discourse on climate change, one that reflects the diversity of Christian perspectives and values.